On the first night of my wedding, my elder sister-in-law gave me advice, so I was worried. I didn't want to do that. How can a girl tell her husband to do something like that on the first night of her wedding, that he wants to lead her astray? I was sitting on the bed, looking very beautiful as a bride. I gathered courage and, fearfully, told my husband, "Please, today." There was a young girl of 17 years old and she was engaged. The next week, my aunt's two daughters were getting married together and she was sitting with my elder sister for an hour. I don't know what she was doing. After about 2 hours, when my aunt and her daughters went back to their house, I immediately asked my elder sister, "Sharmeen Baji, what were these Anila and Amber sitting with you talking about that I felt the need to hide from me?" Sharmeen Baji looked at me and smiled and said, "When your wedding day comes closer, then I will tell you what I was talking about with them." In fact, they needed my advice and tips. I was just helping them. After listening to Sharmeen Baji's words, I looked at her in surprise. I wonder what kind of advice and tips she was sharing that Amber and Anila needed. When I asked Baji about this, she whispered, "Girls should come up with many tips to keep their husbands happy. Because if you don't win the husband's heart on the first night of marriage, then life will not be good." I laughed out loud at Baji's words because I was the only one in the whole house who knew that Sharmeen Baji had come to our house after fighting with Farooq Bhai. Amma knew that Farooq Bhai had sent her to live there of his own free will, but I knew very well that there was a problem between the two, husband and wife. I immediately told her that, "Baji, your own life is not going well. What advice would you give to others? It is better to fix your own house first." Hearing my words, Baji got angry and said, "Look, Anurman, one day Anila and Amber will tell you themselves how my tips have changed their lives. As for your Farooq Bhai, I don't want to win his heart because he is not worthy of me." After hearing Baji's words, I got very angry with him. I don't know what kind of flaw he saw in Farooq Bhai that made him think he was worthy of her. I didn't understand that Farooq Bhai was a very good and kind person and he loved Baji very much. He was our aunt's son and Ahana had sent Baji to another city with him with great love. But from the very next day of the wedding, there was some tension between the two, husband and wife. It didn't seem like they were a newly married couple. Sharmeen Baji and I got engaged at the same time. My father got Sharmeen Baji engaged to Farooq Bhai while I got engaged to my aunt's son Fawad. I was young in age, that's why my father had asked for a year for my marriage, while Sharmeen Baji was sent away with great fanfare shortly after the engagement. But I don't know what grudges Sharmeen Baji had with Farooq Bhai that never went away. Earlier, whenever she talked to me on the phone, she would always do bad things to Farooq Bhai, and now for the past month she had been sitting at our house. My mother thought that maybe she had come from another city, that's why there were so many days left, but this matter I knew very well that she had come here after arguing about something. When she was giving advice to other girls, I also felt jealous of them and other girls who used to come to our house to seek advice from Baji. I don't know what advice she had given to my aunt's two daughters, who had happily gone back. Now I was waiting for the day when they would get married and they would try out the tips given by Baji. As soon as I saw it, another week passed and all of us family members got ready and reached the wedding. Fawad was also there. He loved me very much. He was an educated government officer. As soon as he saw me, his eyes sparkled and he immediately came to me. He had a paper envelope in his hand. He took out flower bracelets from it and put them on my hands. Seeing this scene, Sharmeen Baji said, Wow, brother Fawad, you have become a slave from now on. Hearing Sharmeen Baji's words, Fawad smiled and said, yes, it is Narmeen. I couldn't help myself. I don't know why Sharmeen Baji's face changed color after hearing Fawad's words. Fawad was with me the entire time during the ceremony. Seeing us together, everyone was asking Sharmeen Baji about Farooq Bhai and she was acting evasive. On the second day of the wedding, the aunt's daughters came to meet the aunt's house as per the custom, so I and Baji also went with Amma to meet them. All the elders were busy with their own conversations. Sharmeen Baji and I went to sit in their room with Anila and Amber. As soon as they found solitude, Anila and Amber held Baji's hands and said, Sharmeen Baji, we are very grateful to you. We were very happy because of you on the first night. You have won the hearts of your husbands. Your tips are really great. Farooq Bhai is very lucky to have a wife like you. After listening to both of them, Sharmeen Baji smiled and said, just keep following my tips like this. Your husbands will automatically become your slaves. I was surprised to hear what tips Baji had given them that made them both so happy and grateful to Baji. As soon as I left there, I asked Baji in surprise, tell me too, which tips you have taught them that have been so useful to them. Baji patted my head and said, be a little shy. You are in a hurry for everything. You only have a short time before your wedding. Be patient. I will be here until your wedding. I will tell you such useful tips that will make you happy. See, I will change your life. I asked Baji in surprise, I still have 2 months left in my wedding. Will you stay like this for 2 more months? Farooq Bhai won't come to pick you up. This way, Fupo will get very angry. Sharmeen Baji looked at me with strange eyes and said that you are worried about Farooq Bhai and Fupo. Don't worry, they will neither come to pick me up nor will they have any complaints. I will stay here peacefully until your wedding and I will make the wedding preparations in front of me. After all, you are my only sister and I am very close to Fawad too. I could not digest what Baji said, but I remained silent for the time being because she was walking ahead of us and if she had been bothered by anything like that, it would not have been good. My birthday was 4 days later and Fawad had come to our house with a big cake and a very expensive mobile phone on my birthday. He had celebrated my birthday with great pomp. After he left, I told Baji that I won't need your advice because Fawad loves me very much anyway. Hearing my words, Baji laughed and said that a man's love lasts only for 4 days. Once he gets a hold of his existence, then there is no love left. Baji's hidden words had explained a lot to me. I was guessing that nothing was right between him and Farooq Bhai. As soon as I realized this, I felt that it was not right for me to remain silent. I should talk to my mother or father about this, but how could I direct this to my mother? That's why one day, seeing an opportunity, while working with my mother in the kitchen, he had explained a lot to me. I was guessing that nothing was right between him and Farooq Bhai. As soon as I realized this, I felt that it was not right for me to remain silent. I should talk to my mother or father about this, but how could I direct this to my mother? That's why one day, seeing an opportunity, while I was working with Amma in the kitchen, I asked Amma when Amma Baji would go home. It has been a long time since she came. Hearing my words, Amma said, I was also thinking the same thing. I don't know how long she has come. I don't want your aunt to get upset. Amma was also thinking. In the evening, when we all sat together for tea, Amma asked Baji about her return. Baji said very boldly that Amma, I will not go back to Lahore before Amma Narmeen's wedding. I will go only after marrying my younger sister. Hearing this, Amma said, Look, Sharmeen, it is not right for a married daughter to stay in her house for such a long time. What will your aunt think that we have taken full advantage of our relationship and have kept you in our house for such a long time? Hearing Amma's words, Sharmeen Baji became distressed and started crying and said, Have I lost my right to your house? Amma kept quiet after hearing this and did not ask Baji to return again. However, she and Baji had started preparations for my wedding with great fanfare. Sharmeen Baji spent the whole day visiting the markets with Amma. I was staying at home and taking care of the household. The days were running very fast. The wedding preparations were almost complete, but the strangest thing was that Farooq Bhai had not visited our house even once. When he called Auntie to invite me to the wedding, his tone was also very reserved and dull. He had said curtly that he was not feeling well, that is why it would not be possible for him to come to the wedding so far away. Amma was a bit surprised to hear this. Till now, it had never happened that Auntie had forbidden me to come to our house, and that too on a big occasion like a wedding. As soon as Amma hung up the phone, she asked Baji, Tell me the truth, Sharmeen, is everything okay with your in-laws? Why is Philo in a bad mood? It is not that she is angry because you have been here for so long. I had already told you to go back home, but you did not listen to me. After hearing Amma's words, Bachi started to disobey and said, What happened, Amma? Auntie's knees are hurting and it is okay. You are making a mess of everything. Farooq will come. Don't worry about the wedding. Baji had consoled Amma, but Amma was strangely worried. Then the noise and bustle of the wedding started. Amma forgot about Auntie and got busy with her work. One night before the wedding, I said to Sharmeen Baji, Now tell me too, what are the tips you have that have changed the lives of so many girls by trying them? After hearing me, Baji came closer to me and then confidentially told me a tip that was very different, and I was looking at her in surprise. I said, What kind of tip is this? What will happen if you try it? Baji said, Do it and see. Something will change. I agreed to Baji's advice and left with Fawad and reached his house. My aunt made me sit in the room. There was some time left before Fawad came, and this was the time when I had to follow the advice given by Baji. I did what Baji said and sat back in my place. I was very happy in my heart. Fawad already loved me very much, and if Bachi's advice had been successful, he would have become my slave forever. After waiting for some time, Fawad came into the room, but his face was looking a little dull. He came and sat next to me but did not say anything. It seemed as if he wanted to say something but could not. I immediately asked Fawad, Is everything okay? Why are you sitting so quietly? Fawad looked at me with strange eyes and said, I have found out everything. Why did you hide such a big truth from me? I asked Fawad in surprise, What are you talking about? What have I hidden from you? Fawad said, I have come to know why Sharmeen Bachi has been sitting in your house for so long, why your aunt did not attend the wedding, and why Farooq Bhai's face was pale. After listening to Fawad, I took a deep breath. I felt that maybe he had come to know that there were problems between Baji and Farooq Bhai. I bowed my head and told Fawad that I wanted to tell him, but I did not get the chance. I was afraid that I did not know what everyone would think. After hearing my words, Fawad stared at me and said, You find this matter so trivial that you are admitting it so easily. You are not ashamed at all. If there was such a thing, You would have told me everything clearly in advance. I was surprised to hear what Fawad said, and I said, "Why are you talking to me like this? I admit that I did not tell you or anyone else about this, but it would not be a big deal for you to create such a fuss about this on our wedding night." Fawad suddenly got up from me and reached under his bed, and his hand touched the lemons and chilies that Baji had asked me to keep under his bed. He threw the lemons and chilies in front of me and said, "What is this?" I hesitantly told Fawad that to win your heart, I have tried this trick that Baji had told me. Baji had told me that if you want to win your husband's heart, then recite a prayer and place these lemons and chilies under his bed, he will be completely yours. Fawad grabbed my arm and pulled me up from the bed and said, "I thought you were a very simple and noble girl, but you have turned out to be very cunning. You did not get peace by destroying your sister's house with your own hands. You have started casting a spell on me too. I know very well that Sharmeen Baji is sitting at home because of you. It is Sharmeen Baji's goodness and nobility that she hid your ugly face from the world and did not tell anyone that Marak Bai had thrown her out of the house because of you. What kind of girl are you who is keeping an eye on her own brother-in-law? If you loved Rukbai so much, you would have told us about it at the time of engagement, so that all of our lives would not have become such a mess today." I was stunned to hear the words coming out of Fawad's mouth. He was telling me that he was going to do some great injustice to me, and that is why I folded my hands in front of him while crying and said, "For God's sake, don't talk like that. Trust me. I have not cheated anyone and I have no relationship with Farooq Bai. My only mistake is that I told everyone this. The secret is that my aunt has come from her house after a quarrel, but I don't even know the reason behind their quarrel." Fawad looked at me with uncertainty and said, "Come on. I admit that you don't know why Sharmeen Bachi has come here from her house, but then what is the purpose of these lemons and chilies? Aren't you getting black magic done to get rid of me?" Hearing the word magic, the ground gave way under my feet. I said, "No way. Why would I get black magic done? Baji had told me this trick to win your heart." Fawad laughed out loud after hearing me and said, "Wow, you are very good at making soft words. Sharmeen Bachi herself has told me that her house has broken because of you, because you have made a place in Farooq Bai's heart, and now you want to get rid of me and enter his life, and that is why you have resorted to black magic. Because of your same magic, Farooq Bai has thrown her out of the house and your aunt has also thrown her out of the house. I don't want to see their faces. Go and start your new life with Farooq Bai. You are free from my side." Fawad had unleashed a wrath on me that I could not even imagine. On the very night of our wedding, the divorce medallion was placed on my chest. I did not understand why all this had happened. I returned home crying. But here too, no one was my messiah, instead everyone was considering me the culprit. I folded my hands in front of Sharmeen Baji and said, "Baji, tell everyone the truth that I am not at fault. I have done nothing. You were the one who told me that tip." Baji looked at me with strange eyes and said, "I did not tell you any such tip. I told you to serve your husband. I do not know why you kept lemons and chilies. However, I know this much for sure, that Farooq has thrown me out of the house because of you. Farooq wanted a beautiful and young girl like you. I had no status in his eyes. And then in a short time, I came to know that you had cast a spell on him. That's why they don't even look at me when I left my house and came back. You have trapped not only Fawad but also Farooq in the trap of your love. I didn't tell anyone this so that your house would be settled, but you have also destroyed your house by doing magic and mine too. Saying this, Sharmeen Baji was crying profusely and Amma slapped me hard on the face. No one listened to me. Everyone felt that I had ruined the house of both sisters. I was locked in the room and much later I came to know that Baji had come here after getting a divorce and then after some time, without my consent, my marriage was performed with Farooq Bhai and Baji was married to Fawad. Something happened that I could not even imagine. My father held my hand and sent me off with Farooq and clearly told me that I should never come back here again. I still didn't know why what had happened, but when I reached my aunt's house, I slowly began to understand the truth. Sharmeen Baji had disliked Farooq Bhai from the beginning and she wanted to marry an educated and rich man. Farooq Bhai was educated but not rich and this had ignited jealousy in Baji's heart. Baji had destroyed his own house with his own hands and had put the thought in Farooq Bhai's heart that I loved him and that is why Baji could not live with him. Farooq Bhai had believed Baji's words and divorced him after Baji repeatedly asked for a divorce. In the name of a tip, Baji had deliberately kept lemons and chilies under Fawad's bed and on the other hand had told Fawad that I was a witch. I do and because of this magic, his house has been destroyed. Fawad did not know how much he loved me that he divorced me without knowing the truth. I had become the wife of my own brother-in-law. But after becoming a husband, Farooq gave me a wonderful life. He was a really good person and he never scolded me for anything. My family accepted me with time, but Sharmeen Baji's life had become hell because Fawad loved me and despite marrying Baji, he could not give her the love and attention that Baji wanted from him. And above all, his government job had also ended. Despite such a big trick, Baji had not come up with anything because one trick is done by a human and another trick is done by a higher one. And of course, the moon above is 1,000,000 degrees better than the moon above. With time, I also fell in love with Farooq and my life also became beautiful. If anything was destroyed, it was Sharmeen Baji.